I was diagnosed almost 20 years ago. In fact, 20 years ago next May, so 19 years ago at the moment. I was actually diagnosed in the Middle East. I was working in the Middle East and got a virus infection, and they found that my white count was a bit high and said it was down to the virus, but eventually decided, sending me back to UK, that it was CLL. I don't have much of a journey really, because I've had no treatment. So 20 years of saying, get away from the door, and it's become a bit of a, what? It's on the shoulder. It's like a parrot that sits on your shoulder, and it's there and it doesn't fly away, but it doesn't really give you any problems. I'm fortunate, other people are not so fortunate. I have my own little things that I do. I try to exercise, keep healthy, eat healthily. Whether that helps, I don't honestly know. I like to think it does. So that's it really. I go every 6 months, sometimes 4 months. My blood counts are erratic, more erratic than most apparently. My white cells, for example, on this last test, which was about 2 weeks ago, have dropped from 58 to 12. When I go back next time, who knows, I might be back up to 58 or higher. But that's just the way it is. I do tend to ignore it, and I wouldn't advise anybody to ignore it. I take precautions, do the healthy things, and that's it. That's the journey, and it's ongoing. I don't know how you give advice to people on watch and wait. I mean, I feel now I'm a professional watch and waiter. I've done my apprenticeship and now I'm in sort of a long-term watch and wait person. I think the main thing to do is be as normal as you can, be aware, be mindful of things, particularly hygiene and that sort of thing, and live your life the best you can. But don't overdo it. You know, if you feel tired, slow down. Don't push yourself too hard, and just keep going on the watch and wait, and hopefully you'll watch and wait like me for a long time. I need very little care as such. The only thing perhaps that we have done is made our children aware that if the grandchildren have a very bad cold or something, that they tell us and we maybe don't visit. So the family is aware. I don't involve the family too much in it because I'm not involved too much in it, in all honesty. It was hard in the first couple of years because you don't know where you're going. And we were reluctant to tell our family because I was working 5,000 miles away from home. I would say it was a mistake. You should tell them and involve them. You have to take the personalities of the family and think how you tell them and what you tell them. And you have to learn, if you can, as much as you can about what CLL actually is before you start telling family and friends. What you have to remember is they hear leukemia and they might ask, never heard of CLL, what is it? Well, maybe the first year or 2 years, you don't know what it is, you have no idea. Who knows where it's going to go? 20 years on, I don't know where the next blood test will be. So make the family aware, try not to frighten them. It's easy to frighten them. You can easily make them very scared for you. And if you're a bit scared as well in the early days, just softly and calmly. If I can go back to the beginning, the first doctor I had was actually an Iraqi in the Middle East. And he told me after the second appointment, I've never had a patient with CLL. We'll learn together, which was quite heartening. And we did learn together, and he was fantastic. I was then sent back to the UK by the company and met another doctor who did the bone marrow biopsy and that sort of thing. Then when I retired and came back into the UK on my 60th birthday, I went to Wrexham Hospital and met Dr. Watson, and he's great. We have a great relationship. If I need advice, if I ring his secretary, he always rings back in the evening. It doesn't happen very often. And I think try and get your GP involved. My GP was in haematology, so she understands it. If I see another GP in the practice, quite honestly, they don't really understand CLL. That's not a criticism, it's just a fact. So I've learned after 20 years that if I cut myself, it generally goes septic. So if I have a cut that's looking nasty, I don't go to the doctor, I just ring up and ask, it's gone like this, and she will generally say, okay, the prescription is out, but if it's not clearing up in 5 days, come and see me. If you can build that relationship with your GP and your consultant, then I think you're a big way to taking anything out that's giving you concerns. If you've got somebody on the end of the phone that you know is going to respond, then that's great. Unfortunately, from what we hear, not every consultant and GP responds quite the same way. Another 20 years of watch and wait, be fine. It's not going to go away unless somebody finds a miraculous cure, which might happen. But hopefully it will just, as it is, you know, sort of for me, meander along, going up and down. And I'll carry on sitting here saying to people who've just been diagnosed 20 years and doing London 10K again this year. Well, I'm a trustee of CLL SA, which takes up a lot of time. I do support work with what used to be called WRVS, which is now RVS. I do some work to help a friend with another charity in Sussex. My wife and I walk a lot. I garden. We have a holiday place on the North Wales coast that we visit regularly and do a lot of walking along the Welsh coast. So I keep pretty active.